Welcome to Speech 128. I'm going to give you a little orientation to the course, the online version here on Canvas. And just want to say, I think you're going to really enjoy this course. One of the things I like about it is that I call it a hard, easy class. It's easy in that the concepts in interpersonal communication are really, a lot of them are really common sense. They're things that really you'll find make sense as you understand them. You won't be thinking like you would say maybe in a calculus class or statistics class, like, what is this concept? I'm just having so much trouble understanding it. The ideas are really simple. But the reason it's hard is that it's dealing with interpersonal communication. And communication with others is one of the most difficult things we do in our lives. And you'll find that at times during this course, you're going to be experimenting with communication in ways that will probably put you out of your comfort zone, where you realize, wow, I'm learning, I'm growing. It's not going to be easy, but at the same time, you're going to find that it's really enjoyable, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So with that being said, let me jump you right into Canvas here so I can orient you. This is what it looks like when you first open up your course in your Canvas shell here. And I'm just going to walk you through the basics. So I've got my contact information on the first page right here. The most important thing, what I call the modules here, okay? The modules are like the chapters of a book. And you're just going to go through them. I'm going to click on them here, and you'll see that this whole course is laid out for you from beginning, the introduction, all the way to the very end of the course, the final at the very end. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this basically so you get some ideas. One thing is that you'll need to do is make sure you click and open up each one of these links, because they each have something important for you to look at and read. For example, the syllabus is the very first one. You'll see that the syllabus is going to open up when you click on this, and this gives you the basic information about the class in terms of, my phone number that you can access. You can always text me at this particular number. This is my cell phone number, email address, and so forth. It's got all the basic descriptions of the course, interpersonal communication. It's within the speech department, but the course doesn't emphasize public speaking. There is a public speaking part of this class, but most of it deals with communication on a level of one-to-one communication with individuals. So you'll see as we go through the course, you're going to learn concepts like, what is the self in relationship to communication? What does communication really mean? And how do you get better at things like listening to other people and being able to express yourself clearly to people? Also, we'll look a lot at gender roles in communication, interpersonal communication in terms of nonverbal communication, and conflict in communication, how you deal with difficult situations. So you'll see that the course is bundled up into a lot of different subjects that all fit into the realm of human communication. Also on the syllabus, you will see here that there are things like the grading policy, and you'll notice here that the way the course is broken down is that the skill package is a big project that I'll go into in a little bit, is worth 50% of your grade. It's a project that you'll do from the beginning to the end of the class. That's worth 50%. There's an oral presentation at the end. It's done through video in this course. 10% of your class grade is based on that. And then finally, all the other assignments and quizzes tally up to 40%. So that's how I basically grade. All the material you need for this class is on Canvas. There's no book that you need to buy outside of the class. And I do have Zoom office hours. I hold them on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 5. There's a link right here that you can click. I always use the same link. And it's not required that you go to the Zoom class. It's really office hours. I'm there to help you answer questions if you're stuck on something. So it's not like a class where you're going to be listening to a lecture. It's more just one-on-one communication with any problems you might be having. But I do make myself available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If no one shows up, sometimes I may close the Zoom session. But you can, of course, just text me and I can open it back up again. But generally, I'll have it open during Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 5, okay? There are some extra credit activities that you'll be able to do toward the end if you need them. And the rest of this I'll let you just go over on your own. Okay, so going back to these modules, you see I opened up the very first one, the syllabus. The rest of these, I won't open them all up here, but you should open them up and you'll see that they're all here to be able to give you basic starting procedures for getting started on the class. There is an orientation quiz. I made it like super easy so that everybody would pass. It's just 5 quick questions based on this information, but it's really easy. But you do need to do that by the date here that you'll see. There's also what we call a meet and greet discussion. Now there are several of these discussion questions, and the way you do these is you click on them. They're video posts. So what you'll be doing is you'll be making a short video based on the prompt that I give you. For example, here there's 5 questions that are really about yourself. You're introducing yourself to the rest of the class. You only have to pick 3 of these 5 questions, but think about it first. Get it in your mind what you're going to say, and then what you're going to do is record your response, okay? Now, it's pretty easy to do that. What you're going to end up doing is you go to reply here, right? And when you go to reply, you could, of course, type something, but in this case, you're going to make a video. So what you do is you click on this little icon right up here. It says record or upload media. And there you can record the media. And you can use your computer to record it. Some people do it on their phone and then upload it from there. You could do it either way, but you'll see it's not too hard to do. Sometimes people have technical difficulties with this, depending on the computer you're on. If you're having trouble, just let me know and I can help you with that. Okay, so you'll notice here that there's 2 parts to a discussion question. One is your post, and the other is responding to other people's posts as well, right? And so in this case, you just have to respond to at least 3 of your fellow students' videos, right? So you look at their videos and then give them a couple sentences response, some nice feedback to your classmates. That way you get to know people as you're doing the class. Okay, so that gets us through the introduction. Now you'll see here that the next section in the modules here is called About the Course. This is give you some more particulars about getting started. I'll let you read on your own. There's a first big assignment called the War Story Speech. And this is a speech you're going to, again, record the same way using video here, where you're going to tell a story about a time when you got into some sort of difficulty, and you're going to tell us the details of what happened, and then you're going to conclude your speech by saying, and so the moral of my story is, and then you're going to tell us what you learned from it. I do have some really good examples here. Over the years, I've recorded quite a few war story speeches from students. And I recommend you watch a few of these just to kind of get an idea. There's over 100 of them here. I'll just watch a few so you kind of get an idea of what students have done for their war stories. It'll help you in preparing your own war story, okay? And then we do the war story, and you'll see that you can, of course, use this link to actually upload your war story speech. That's coming up too. You can see on October 26th here. Okay, the skill package. Now this, as I mentioned, is worth 50% of your grade. This is the largest project in the course. And you'll see there's actually 8 different parts to it, okay? Now I'm going to there's a separate video here on how to do the skill package, so I won't go into detail here, but you'll need to watch that, and then this will lay out for you how you do the skill package. It's really a question. You get to pick an interpersonal skill that you personally would like to get better at. And then you're going to approach gaining strength in that skill through 8 different types of activities. So I'll break it down for you when you watch that video, but that's here in this section. And notice that the due dates start at the beginning of the course, but the last part is not due till the very last day of the course. So you'll be doing this ongoing as you do the rest of the course. Speaking of which, here we go. The rest of the course is broken down into chapters. So there's chapter 1, and it goes all the way through here. You'll see that most of the chapters are organized in the same way. There'll be some material for you to read. I've also made audio versions of most of the chapters where I just recorded it for you, and you can also just listen to that if you prefer to reading it, okay? And you'll see that the first introductory chapter is here. Then you can go through chapter 2. There's no assignment, first of all, in this first chapter, you'll notice, but then when you get to chapter 2, there is an assignment that covers chapter 1 and 2 together. And you'll see there's a little something called a stop and think. Now what that is you'll see that in the readings, you'll notice that I'll stop periodically, and there'll be a thing that says stop and think, and there'll be a few different questions or prompts. And the idea is to reflect on those, and then when you do your stop and think, you're going to choose the ones you want to respond to, and then you're going to write out your response, and you'll turn that in to the onto Canvas, right? So you'll be in here and you'll be able to go into it. You'll notice here I'm showing you this from the instructor's view. If you go to the student view, you'll see it looks a little different. You'll just see it says start assignment, right? You start assignment, and then you can basically create your file where you type in your answers, and then you upload it here, right? And then you submit it, and that's it. That's the way you'll end up turning in all your work actually in this class. I'll go back out of this particular view. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on the chapters because most of them are run the same way. There'll be some sort of stop and think. There will be a short quiz on the different chapters you'll see. And there's audio versions for most of them, as I mentioned. And you'll walk your way through all the way, chapter 1, 2, 3, and then you'll get down to the very end of the course where we come to our final after chapter 7. There's a final speech. There's not a final exam. It's a speech that you give, and the idea is to reflect on your skill package. That is the actual assignment here, to reflect on your skill package. And again, I have video examples for you to look at of previous students who've done their final, and it's a really good idea, to watch a few of these, get an idea of what people have done. And you'll see here, there's quite a few. There's like over 70, I think, in here. But just watch a few so you kind of get an idea, and that'll help you as you go through. Okay, so that's kind of the basics. A couple other things to pay attention to. One is that when you are in Canvas, it's a good idea to set up your notifications here. You don't have to do this, but I think it's a good idea. If you go into your account, right, you can actually go into what are called notifications, and you can set them up so that, for example, you might get a text on your phone when there's like a new announcement posted to Canvas, or when there's a new grade posted or a new assignment posted. You don't have to have everything set up so that you're constantly getting your phone activated all day, but it's a good idea to at least do a little bit of notification so that you don't forget that you're on the online course, right? That happens every once in a blue moon. Okay, the other thing that's important is that when you first start Canvas, right? When you open up Canvas, you'll notice on the right-hand side, now my screen's going to be a little bit different, but it'll say, in my case it says coming up, but I think in yours, student version, it's going to say to do. It'll show you assignments that are coming due. There'll also be a section down at the bottom. I'm not a student, so it doesn't show here, but it'll say feedback. This is really important to check, because if you turn in something that's not quite done, or maybe there's something wrong with it, I'll usually not grade it. I'll just give you a little note saying, oh, by the way, you need to make sure it's 250 words, or that's the most common thing people do that's incorrect, is they'll write, say, 100 words and then turn it in without realizing it's got to be at least 250 words. That's one page, double spaced, 250 words. That's something that we hold a hard line on. Make sure you've got that. But if you didn't turn it in correctly, I'll make a note to you and send that to you, but you'll need to check your notes to see it. So if you notice when you're checking your grades, which you can do over on this side, when you check your grades, you'll say, oh, I didn't get graded on that, but I turned it in a couple weeks ago. What's going on? And then you'll see, oh, I see. He wrote a note to me to fix something. I didn't see that. Then fix it. So just make sure you keep everything together in terms of turning everything in, and you'll be just fine. All right, that's a lot, I know, but that covers the basics of the course. Feel free to reach out to me. Of course, if you have questions, you can come to office hours, or you can text me or email me. Lots of ways to get in touch. I look forward to seeing you throughout the course.